Welcome back, guys. I am Morris, please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster, joined by Mike Loris. We are HeflaTV. This is Qntk versus Scary Faces Game 2. Qntk taking a very convincing Game 1 in a draft that we definitely favored Scary Faces in. Scary Faces not really able to execute to the strengths of their draft, having a very poor defensive tri-lane centered around their Lycan, and Void getting off to a great start and able to transition that into a great end. So, Mike, what do you think Qntk needs to do to continue the momentum, and is there any chance that Scary Faces take this Game 2, considering how they played in Game 1?
Man, I mean, Scary Faces, they didn't have a hugely, vastly superior draft. It was a little bit more focused, and I think that's why we both said it was a little bit more solid as far as that is concerned, but they just didn't play it correctly. So I think as long as they don't go for a similar pushing strategy, then they have a much better chance at getting it done, because, well, clearly they are going to struggle at doing that. But for Qntk, just stay the course. They have been performing well they performed well in the last game with a good draft, and if they just do the exact same thing again, then it'll be up to Scary Faces to once again, make the plays that they really have to make. And if they can't do that, then, well, Qntk should just take an easy 2-0.
Yeah, a little bit lackluster play from a bash on the Vengeful Spirit. Didn't see any significant swaps out of Chrono. The only Chrono he could have swapped out of was mid lane solo on the Lycan, where we saw Darkness of the Abyss back off. Anyways, Scary Faces, though, they're going to open with the FV themselves. Going to deny that up from Qntk, who first picked the Skywrath Mage. So they're not going to give them the Chronosphere Mystic Flare combo. They'll also pick up the Skywrath, Repel, pretty good, or Omni, I should say, Repel, pretty good versus the Skywrath, can dispel that Ancient Seal if cast properly, and of course the Guardian Angel does well versus all forms of physical damage. So Omni Knight, pretty good pickup here, especially coupling him with the Void can allow him to get up that kind of pseudo BKB within his Chrono early on and not be too worried about counter initiation from outside the Chrono.
Right, so Omni Knight was banned out in the first phase in the last game. We also do see a Pudge being banned out. I don't really know if these two teams have a significant history with each other, if they know that, well, they like to pick up the Pudge, but if it's not that, then it's definitely just a disrespect ban. It's just, okay, we're just going to ban this out because we don't have to ban out anything else against you. But Omni Knight faces Void is a pretty solid combo, with the exception of it being double melee, which is generally not a way you want to start out your draft. Qntk, they're going to grab Shadow Demon Skywrath Mage. Shadow Demon mostly as a defensive pick versus the Faceless Void, similar to how the Vengeful Spirit usually works, but as far as these two heroes together, Shadow Demon Skywrath Mage is not the strongest support duo. It's very defensive. They can't actually get that much done because Shadow Demon is all about the setup. Skywrath Mage doesn't need that setup. It's a wonky combo. So Qntk, they are going to play this a little bit more defensively, and again, if they just want to go for a similar draft to the last game, that's perfectly reasonable, and these two heroes are a good start to that.
Yeah, I mean, the Soul Catcher is really nice with the Mystic Flare, but you do need something else. They maybe need Sven type of core to lock them down for the Mystic Flare. So yeah, no immediate synergy between the Shadow Demon and the Skywrath. Shadow Demon definitely a good defensive support versus the Chrono. If he's able to stay out of that, works much like the Venge does in the ability to disrupt defensively your teammate. Also, I did see Qntk ban the Pudge, or not Qntk, I should say, Central of Fear banning the Pudge versus Scary Faces with Coucher a couple days ago. So perhaps that is something that State 21 does play in the mid. Not sure. As you said, little bit slim pickings in terms of game history with these two teams. But either way, Pudge going to be removed from the pool. They will remove the Earthshaker as well for Qntk. So IMXO playing very well on the Earthshaker last game. Couple of very nice counter initiating and initiating Echo Slams from him, but they won't be taking that as they do pick up their first two heroes as supports here. So gonna be a little bit easier for Scary Faces to ban. They're gonna ban 3 cores in their next few, and they will ban the Zeus, taking that away from Axnar, as well as the Clockwork here. So Clockwork, not the best hero into Void. A little bit of an interesting ban if you ask me there. Oh, actually, Scary Faces banned that derp. So yeah, Clockwork gonna be banned out from Qntk here. Definitely somewhat of a strong offlaner, but I haven't seen him do particularly well recently, so a little interesting from them there.
Got the Clockwork ban, got the Viper ban now out from Scary Faces. With an opening like Shadow Demon Skywrath Mage, there's not much that you could plan for. maybe just get rid of someone who could set up off the disruption like an Invoker or something like that. But it's reasonable just to ban out strong heroes in general. For Scary Faces though, grabbing Alina is fairly interesting. Lina is a hero that would have been great with Shadow Demon. Like, that's a great combination right there. Right now, Lina doesn't have any true setup. Last time I saw Lina, I believe it was solo mid lane. That is a possibility for Scary Faces in this particular game, but right now it's looking like, Core Faces Void, that's going to happen. Omnight usually played as a core as well, and Lina maybe as a support, but she's going to need a little bit of setup. Scary Faces maybe going to go for Crystal Maiden. Who knows? Qntk were the ones to run that last time, so it will be, at the very least, a stun for Scary Faces. And Qntk, okay, there it is. It's the Mirana Shadow Demon combination, and that's something that's going to demand an answer for Scary Face. I mean, I guess Lina is kind of good against defensive disruptions from the Shadow Demon, but outside of that, this combination from Qntk all of a sudden got a lot more dangerous because now they finally have something to use with that disruption.
Yeah, the Soul Catcher are going to buff up the arrow as well as the Mystic Flare as well, so definitely a very potent combo there. Of course, the setup offered from the disruption into the arrow. Dota for dummies there, and they'll be pretty good in their tri lane wherever they choose to go. It'll be interesting to see whether the Skywrath or the Mirana is core. You would expect the Mirana to be core over the Skywrath generally, but Skywrath not too bad as a core versus the Void. The Ancient Seal pretty good. Of course, there is the Repel there to dispel that. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Shadow Demon certainly needs to be worried about defensively disrupting teammates. You can set up for both a Dragon Slave as well as, or I should say Light Strike array as well as the Purification. They can walk in on them as they are disrupted. So it will be interesting to see how well the disruption is used in this one. Probably will be used in a more aggressive nature more often than not with the combo of the Mirana Skywrath Shadow Demon. But we'll see what the response is here from Scary Faces. They do have the next pick impending, and Witch Doctor was banned out from Qntk, so definitely synergize as well with the Void. Not as well as it used to, as ward units are no longer allowed to attack in the Chronosphere, so you do have to place that outside the Chrono. You used to be able to place it within the Chrono, but either way, still a good hero there. Also offers some sustainability with the Voodoo Restoration.
Yeah, it's not really a terribly huge deal. Usually with Death Ward, as long as you're not in a terrible position, you'll be able to drop it outside the Chronosphere and you will be fine. Of course, not really going to be relevant just because the Witch Doctor is banned out this game.
Yeah.
Scary Faces, they're taking their sweet time on this one. Usually when you pick up a Lina Omni Knight, you have some sort of substantial plan. Maybe the Mirana Shadow Demon is going to throw a wrench in all of that because they're very quickly running out of time. Who's going to be Scary Faces? Okay, it's a Wraith King. So they do have the nest set up now. It's support Wraith King, support Lina most likely. That's a pretty dangerous duo, but I mean, we saw in the last game, their dangerous duos were getting kills, but always at even trades, and that's never really what you want to have happen when you have two super focused support, aggressive support heroes. Regardless, these two heroes are going to be pretty nice together, but I'm concerned with Scary Faces in that they're running quite a few melee heroes. Right now, Qntk don't have heroes that could really punish that very well. Mirana Starstorm is just about it, but if they actually do want to pick up heroes that can punch these melee heroes, then it'll get really bad for Scary Faces really quickly.
Yeah, definitely the first thing I noticed is how melee heavy their lineup was. When they pick up the Wraith King, they will be susceptible to that Disruption Arrow combo because of that. And Lina not the best attack range. Base attack time pretty poop until you get up a couple points in Fiery Soul as well. So it will be interesting to see how they're able to deal with that. Very unorthodox pickup from Qntk. They're going to pick up the OD here, and so they will have the Disruption as well as the Astral Imprisonment here, so they can use both aggressively and defensively. OD core, haven't seen it in a long time, will be pretty effective up against the Wraith King. Dropping down his mana pool may drop him low enough such that he doesn't have the reincarnation. Also, not too intelligence heavy here on Scary Faces, so OD should have a decent time here. Of course, much like Queen of Pain, though, OD, one of those heroes without any farm, is pretty darn underwhelming.
And usually the reason people say that OD is not picked up is because BKB counters him too hard. It's mostly bullshit, but it's true, but it's pretty bullshit anyway. Omni does have the BKB in his pocket, the Repel, pretty much all the time, and that's never really where you want to be as an OD, because you do, at the end of the day, need to do some damage through magic immunity, and his right clicks actually do end up hurting a lot without the orb, but the orb is where it's at. So going through the Repel is going to be a little bit bold. It's mostly a laning choice for now, and Bloodseeker banned out, really? Sure, why not? OD right now doesn't really know who he's up against in lane, but with the options right now for Scary Faces, there is no one good to send up against the OD that they have in their draft right now. Maybe they grab a Razor, make the good old Razor counter to the OD right now, but for Qntk, it's a weird matchup for sure, but it's a pretty decent one. It's a Silencer. Okay, so now the mid lane is just all for Qntk. I don't really see a way that OD can lose outside of Wraith King Lina camping that lane.
Yeah, definitely so. OD gonna have a good time there mid lane, so will be interesting here to see, as you mentioned, which of the three Omni, Lina, Wraith King goes into the core role. We would expect the Omni to go there. They don't really have a solid offlaner unless they opt to put the Void in that position, but it looks like they'll probably have an aggressive try from Scary Faces. Their defensive one didn't really work out much last game, and perhaps they could do something like Omni, Lina, Wraith King. That would be pretty potent. Wraith King also going to be there to soak up this combo from the Shadow Demon Skywrath Mirana later on, and he'll be able to take a lot of arrows for his teammates with that second life. So a lot of people want to say YOLO, but in the case of the Wraith King, it's YOLT. You only live twice, and he'll be there to soak up that combo. And once they blow that, I mean, Qntk doesn't have too much to follow up from that, so they will rely certainly on some pickoffs and taking down 5 versus 4 engagements quite often. There also is the global silence offered by the Silencer, but I really do worry for their ability to scale if they put the Void in the offlane. And speaking of scaling, Darkness on the Abyss going to pick up a TB for Qntk.
And surprisingly fitting name for a Terrorblade picker, so Qntk are going to have that synergy there. I mean, OD and Terrorblade, it's all like Darkness of the Abyss, Shadow Demon as well. It works out pretty well, but this is going to be a very much so team fight focused draft for Scary Faces, whereas Qntk, up until they picked up the Terrorblade, I mean, they have a very run and gun gank heavy build. It's going to be a pretty aggressive game from the Qntk side, and almost stark contrast to what we saw in the last game, but what they have right now, just buying space for the Terrorblade, is going to be pretty nice. And well, Terrorblade has a little bit of magic damage to worry about in the Lina, but aside from that, there's not that much. I guess Purification Pure does cut through his low HP pretty decently as well, but for the most part, Terrorblade isn't going to be hard countered in any significant way, and it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Get to see OD and Terrorblade together, so yeah, I haven't seen that in quite a long time, but we see how these lanes actually shape up. For right now, we got everyone from Scary Faces going up towards top. It's going to be a Bash leading the way as the support. Lina, Stay 21 as the core Omni Knight. Quista is going to be playing the Silencer, looking maybe mid. Eknar's going to be on the Wraith King, and that leaves Shadow Razor on the Faceless Void. There's a smoke up towards top, but I don't really know if this is going to get that much done. Maybe if they run into the Skywrath Mage with the stun combination, but Skywrath Mage is going to have to be sleeping at the keyboard if he's going to get caught up by this, or get majorly fogged.
Yeah, it looks like the Faceless Void will be offlaner as Shadowways picked that up in terms of at least the player role. Gedrox playing on the Skywrath Mage for Qntk may run into 4 here. Darkness of the Abyss going to pick up the Terrorblade. He is able to fog them through the tree line. Eknart won't be able to get in range for that. T-Bon picking up the Mirana. IMXO playing a very good Earthshaker last game will pick up the Shadow Demon, and Axnar going to round out the lineup for Qntk on the Outworld Devourer with the Dragonforge set looking pretty good. And we got a purple Arcana for Darkness of the Abyss, so isn't playing the Void in this one, but certainly sticking with the theme from game 1.
Yeah, man, I've seen Yellow Void, that Terrorblade, that was definitely the weirdest. Purple actually looks decent, kind of goes in this color scheme already.
Not bad at all. Big fan of green. I think white looks pretty good as well, but EE sporting the red is one of my favorite. Either way, we'll see if he gets some traction under his footfalls here and able to transition into that mid game. As you said, no hard counters to him. There is the Purification Pure damage to all his illusions if someone's able to get close. They'll probably see Maelstrom builds from Eknart later on, and probably from the Void early on for Shadowway, but he is disrupted. Bottom lane, arrow's gonna fly out. It's gonna hit Shadowway. Do they have enough to bring him down? Probably not with the time walk available. They'll try and body block him in, but he'll just time walk away. He'll be just fine in that solo safe lane. Darkness of the Abyss meantime is not so fine. He'll take a last glaive to the back, and the Terrorblade already dying here. Quista picking up first blood for Scary Faces.
That was just a sneaky play from the Lina and Wraith King. They were hiding in the tree line, and Darkness as well as Gedrox. They knew that something was up, so they were, not passing the line, but wrap around for the Wraith King, caught him by surprise through the fog. Exactly what Eknar's doing right now, actually. And then just 1 stun to 2 stuns into even Curse of the Silent level 1. It's a lot of magic damage in Terrorblade, though he does have the armor to back it up. his low HP pool. Magic damage is his bane, and they cut through it just enough. This is not the strongest dual lane that you're going to see from Qntk, as they're going to go in once again. Ghidrock's going to take a stun. There's another stun, the LSA, and the last word will pop with nothing else. That's going to be 2 kills now on this top lane, with Quista collecting 4 stacks now of intelligence. That's a great start for the Scary Faces side. They're going to try for Darkness with just a Ray Fire Blast. That's not going to work, but this top lane is an extremely weak one for Qntk, and man, I thought they would take a little bit more care in trying to protect this Terrorblade, but running dual lanes is definitely not what you want to do up against the Lina Wraith King combo.
Yeah, and State 21 doing extremely well in the mid lane, 8-5 to the 4-1 of Axnar's OD right now. He's got a couple stacks of Astral Imprisonment, a couple actually just expired now, but that's helping him out with his bottle, actually making it a little more effective. He's able to regen up his full mana pool in one bottle charge almost. He's looking for this Haste Rune top. He'll find it and gets it before Axnar is able to deny it. Doing well for an Omni Knight versus OD matchup in the mid lane.
And that is almost completely unheard of. Like, OD is not supposed to lose lanes. That's where it's the strongest point of the hero. He is going to win his lane 9 times out of 10. Omni Knight is not the strongest laner. Like, he does have Purification occasionally to get him some CS if things get really hairy, but other than that, his base damage is okay, his armor is okay, but he just doesn't have any way of controlling the lane versus a ranged hero. And OD should have firm control of this. He's dropping low on mana, actually, the OD, and Omni Knight, as you said, is getting some slight benefits from the int differential, as he's always pretty much full on mana, so whenever he gets that intelligence back, he'll be able to cast something. It's a rough start for Qntk for sure. Like, even their bottom lane, this lane is supposed to kill. It's going to try to go again on the Faceless Void. The arrow's going to connect somehow. I don't know how that worked, but it's point blank arrow. The stun duration just isn't there, and this dual lane isn't really working out versus Faceless Void. And at the same time, top lane, Scarf Mage is going to get jumped. Looks like Wraith King ate his way through all the trees, and it's going to make a 3-0 advantage now for Scary Faces. No lane is going well for Qntk.
Yeah, Scary Faces, very good start for them, 3-0. They're winning even the mid lane with their Omni Knight thus far. OD starting to catch up now, 13-5 to the 13-6 of State 21. So perhaps he begins to accrue an advantage as he gains a couple levels in Astral. But either way, Terrorblade farming absolutely horrendously at this point. 7 last hits. And he'll take a Wraithfire Blast as well as the last word. Light Strike Away will be there as well. There's the Dragon Slave to finish him off. TP's in a little bit too late. That's actually going to get canceled there. And Gedrock's going to have to run into the tree line here. Eknart not too willing to chase too deeply as he is out of mana. No Wraithfire Blast there for him. TP's to the tier 2 from Darkness of the Abyss. Perhaps he looks to go into the jungle. He will pop Metamorphosis and instantly drop an illusion to go into the jungle. No bottle here for Axnar. He'll pick up a double damage rune, but still 100 gold away from that bottle, and you see how poorly he's doing in this mid lane. State 21 had the bottle for a while, bounty rune in tow as well, and things looking pretty poor for Qntk here after that game 1 victory.
And I mean, you don't want to give up 4 kills in any lane. That's just not what you want to do, but up against a silencer, that's just even worse. The int differential is probably not going to be hugely noticeable, but it will be there. Quista's going to be hitting a lot harder down the line, especially once he picks up some glaives. So this silencer is getting pretty much the perfect start, and it's not even like Scary Faces are trying real hard for these kills. They're just doing their standard stun combo. Throw all your skills to one guy, and with such soft heroes in the Skywrath Mage and a Terrorblade in lane, there's no way that these 2 heroes can survive. It's just not going to happen. So just with pure nuke damage alone, they're collecting so much more late game advantage for this silencer, and they're not really sacrificing too much down the bottom lane either, where Faceless Void is already sitting at level 5, so his Chronosphere is quickly incoming. Global Silence will be up pretty soon, even with the full-on tri-lane. It doesn't matter because he's getting all these kills. They're going to wrap around one more time. Ghidrock's still here, but he really should not be here. More intelligence for the silencer. Here comes the Shadow Demon, but he can't do anything. Hell, even if he got there in time, he couldn't do anything. He probably would have been in trouble if he got there a little bit earlier, in fact. So it's a 5th kill for Scary Faces. Hannah Midas is being built up from the silencer. Qntk, this is not really where they're supposed to have this much trouble with their heroes, but they are certainly paying the price, and it's going to be even more. They're going to dive deep for IMXO. He's going to have a disruption, but it'll kill him. And silencer is now all the way up to +12. This is like more intelligence than you ordinarily see from a support silencer at the end of the game.
Yeah, I wonder if Sanity's Eclipse is ever going to do any damage to the silencer, the way he's able to garner all this intelligence. And he'll pick up the Midas now from the side shop as well. 6 minutes in, he's already 3-0-3, and he's encroaching upon that level 6. So Global Silence will be at the ready to cover Shadow A's initiation as well with the Chronosphere. Level 6 barely made here by the OD in the mid lane. State 21 almost level 7. He's got that GA up and farming pretty well. 23 CS to the 27 of the OD is definitely very admirable against a lane we should have thought would have been dominated. Top lane, Gedrock's gonna get the Ancient Seal off. So for once, he will survive here. Finally has a point in the silence. Terrorblade looking to jungle for Darkness of the Abyss. 18 CS on him. And that's to the 35 of the Silencer, as well as the 23 of the Omni and the 13 of the Faceless Void. So he has recovered decently. Picked up a couple of Wraith Bands, but certainly isn't going to be snowballing out of control anytime soon.
This game is going to be really difficult for Qntk to recover. Their OD is getting back into this game slowly but surely, but OD should have a much better start versus the Omni Knight, as Omni Knight is already pretty much where he wants to be. Don't know if it's going to be a Blink Dagger build for him, but either way, it should be decent. Eknar's going to drop very low, actually getting a little bit too close. LSA is going to whiff, but IMXO is in a lot of trouble, actually. Oh yeah, now he's just completely screwed. LSA is going to be lined up. Actually, no, they don't have True Sight, never mind. So Abash is suddenly in a little bit more trouble, as Darkness of the Abyss is going to try to give chase, but he has no reflection, going for a jungling Terrorblade build. No one's going to die on the Scary Faces side, but man, they dive that deep and they're not punished. That is just unheard of, as Moonlight Shadow used out of necessity there, so not even with that option available to get some kills down the line. Still Qntk, they're not even on the board yet, and still Global Silence is being held. This is, man, I don't even know what could change. They need to, I don't know, have this OG start laying down some serious hammers, but he's having so much trouble versus Omni Knight that's just not going to happen for a long time.
Yeah, definitely so. He did have to rotate out of lane there as well and wasn't able to find anything for it, so misses a little bit of farm. The creep wave was pushed up pretty deep, so he may have not gone high ground either way, but level 8 now on the OD. Definitely got to question the laning decision. We know Shadow Demon Mirana is a very strong combo, of course, from Qntk, but leaving that Terrorblade Skywrath alone versus all that magic damage is just not fared well for them. The Shadow Demon rotating over for IMXO a little bit too late, and they're not able to find anything. They don't even get a kill in the off lane with that Mirana Shadow Demon combo, so really not stifling the farm at all of Shadow A. Global Silence is going to go out top lane, and it looks like it was for an illusion. Quista not going to find much there.
The Illusion's not going to be casting any skills anytime soon, so mission success. Quista using his Global Silence, probably the worst way you can use it ever, and not going to help out any allies, but it will actually, down the line, set up for a kill on Shadow Demon, so I guess we could call that worth it in the end.
Yeah,
maybe.
Perhaps feeling a little bit more confident about walking through his jungle with the Global Silence down. He runs into a Wraith Fire Blast, Light Strike Array combo, and Eknart looking for more from the high ground. They're not going to find much, as IMXO is back in the base, and rotating back as well is Darkness of the Abyss. He's completed up his Aquila now, so we'll be a little bit more tanky on those illusions, but Axnar caught completely out of position here. Concussive shot will hit on the Skeleton King, I wanted to say Wraith King, but not going to matter, only going to delay the inevitable. Sanity's Eclipse going to do absolutely nothing but tickle the Lina, and there goes the OD, the only hero that was really relevant at this point for Qntk. Things looking absolutely brutal for them. 8-0 is the score, 10 minutes in, and Shadow A's also picked up level 7 on the Void. He's got Treads and PMS already, so sitting pretty on that safe lane solo Void.
Well, he's going to take an arrow to the face. Let's see if he can backtrack any of this. Starstorm's going to fall, and he's going to die. Siobhan's going to leap out from that Wraith Fire Blast, and it will be finally Qntk getting themselves on the board. But, man, Faceless Void is already exactly where he wants to be, and then some. Level 7 on that hero versus a dual lane. And Mirana's getting free farm as well. She has Hand and Midas going. She has the phase boots, and it looks like it's going to be drums down the line for her. But yeah, I think Shadow Demon just got assassinated by a Laguna Blade. But
Light Strike Array,
Qntk,
Dragon Slave, and Laguna Blade from the high ground. So well played there.
You hate to see that kind of thing happen.
Either way, 9-1, 10, almost 11 minutes in here. Quista with the Midas has 1,200 gold as well. Sitting on level 8, is tied with the OD and the Mirana at this point. So has had to rotate around a bit, did use that global silence on an illusion, so they haven't been able to make quick use of that quite yet. Couple of more Wraith Bands in tow here for Darkness of the Abyss. He's just looking to jungle all day, every day, and he's level 7, looking to pick up that level 8 soon. Moonlight Shadow has been popped in the mid lane. Perhaps they look to find Quista, but rotating around under the cover of smoke with the Chronosphere is Shadow 8 and State 21. So see if they're able to find the Terrorblade here. That'll be a great target to pick up. Moonlight Shadow is not going to be there for him to fade. Global Silence used, even the Purification there from the outside. One more right click, Shadow 8 finishes off Darkness of the Abyss, and that'll stifle his farm quite well. But in the mid lane, they do find one for Axnar. That'll be Quista's Silencer, and he was quite high level. That almost gives Axnar his level 9 here. They can turn onto a bash, but not willing to do so. Sanity's Eclipse not used for that one, so a very nice kill. Either way, Shadow 8 and State 21 going to find another one in Gedrox's Shadow or Skywrath in the top lane. 2 for 1 across the map, going the way of Scary Faces, but certainly a nice little win for Qntk in terms of how well they're doing thus far.
You can see really how much this dual lane is affecting the Faceless Void. He goes up towards top lane, gets 2 kills in a hurry, and one of them being on the Terrorblade, and that's bad times for Qntk. At least they kill off the Silencer, but man, Silencer already had enough of a good start that he's going to be okay with dying one time, and actually the mid lane action still not going to stop. This time Omni Knight is packing that Blink, so a Blink 4 into Purification after a single stun from a Wraith King or a random LSA can very quickly get a surprise kill. Disruption onto the Lina. They have the arrow on standby, but with 4 heroes here on Qntk, I don't really see how they could actually make this fight happen. Outside of a stray arrow landing, they don't have any good way of initiating.
Yeah, definitely so, and holding on to the arrow there as the creep wave rotating in also, as you mentioned. The OD pretty low, and they really don't have much to follow up from that. They could have dropped the hammer on the Lina after an arrow and just backed off, but not sure it's worth that really large cooldown at this point. Astral Imprisonment goes out mid. Haste Rune popped there onto Axnar, but not going to find much. Smoke rotation bottom is going to look for the Skywrath. Gedrox probably going to die here. He is able to rotate out with the concussive shot, and well played by him. Good game sense. They will drop a deep ward here in the lane for some info. Mid lane smoked up is the Shadow Demon Mirana combo. They're not going to find this to be fruitful anytime soon, though, as everyone is in the top lane and the bottom lanes for Scary Faces.
They're going to assassinate Gedrox. It was just long range, last word Curse of the Silent, then long range Laguna Blade, and not a single right click was dealt. Skywrath Mage was absolutely destroyed, and he's so soft, and oh, okay, look at that. Omni Knight and Shadow Razor are going to find yet another kill on the Terrorblade. Qntk, they're just bleeding heroes right now. They're going to try to make a play over towards the bottom lane where their tower is under a very slight amount of pressure. Shadow Demon Mirana can make this defense, especially with someone teleporting in. Let's see if they could land anything on anyone. They have a concussive, but it will land on Quista. Global Silence TP, and oh no, he cancels it! Why?
Yeah,
Quista,
definite.
why? Okay, he's going to try to turn and fight here with State. There's a GA available, and I mean that Quista can turn around and actually almost kill off the Mirana, but Quista
Sanity's Eclipse not
passed out. That was, I don't think it was worth it.
No, I think that was a misclick, but State 21 rotating in, they look to turn it anyways, and the Silencer will fall 1 for 1 for the Skywrath Mage. You saw that as Sanity's Eclipse drop on the Silencer did absolutely nothing, and that just tells you how much agility he's been able to steal up to this point. He's got 66 intelligence to the 56 of the OD. And things not looking great for the OD at this point. That's 160-second cooldown used. He does have quite a bit of gold. Will pick up his 4 staff here, so very standard build out of the OD. Is pretty relevant. 3rd overall on the net worth. 2nd to the Midas T-Bone Mirana and the Midas Quista Silencer. So the Void not doing extremely well, but he has picked up his Mask of Madness. Is 2-1-1, and we'll be able to find some more pickoffs as he picks up his level 11 here soon for that 2nd level of Chrono.
And for Qntk, they're just getting a little bit of something on their Terrorblade, and this is a hero that if you let him sit for a little bit too long, he can just destroy your entire team, but he's being pressured as well. I mean, State and Shadow Razor are going to go in for, what, round 3, Blink Forward Purification, and there's no, oh, there's actually time to get us under, but instantly into the Repel, Faceless Void taking quite a bit of damage. Looks like he's going to be going down. This time
nice arrow.
Damage, and an arrow going to land on the State as well. Now, those are the type of plays that Qntk should have been making about 10 minutes ago. Darkness of the Abyss finally picking up his point in Sunder, and it turns out Sunder is actually pretty good when the enemies don't have Chronosphere. So, Scary Faces with the Faceless Void getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. They had a Chronosphere easy kill, but trying to do that without the Chrono is awfully bold.
Yeah, I mean, you really would need a bunch of bashes there, so unfortunate bit of luck there with the level 4 time lock for the Void. Either way, yeah, probably should have just waited for the Chrono for the easy kill, perhaps use the Purification to burst him down when he got low, as opposed to using it very early on. Either way, good rotation in from Qntk. That'll help Darkness of the Abyss finish off his Yasha and pick up the level 2 in Sunder, so things looking a little bit better for Qntk. They've chunked into the what was a 3k net worth lead to bring it down to 2k, and surprisingly enough, experience almost at equilibrium, so the virtues of the Midas paying off. Mid lane, Disruption goes out, arrow to follow, Soul Catcher's there as well, Mystic Flare, a bash, first to fall, Repel, cast on State 21, but he's gonna get Demonic Purge. That'll take it down with the Ancient Seal. One more right click. Actually, the Demonic Purge gonna tick and bring him down. Eknart looks like to be the next to fall. He's got his Reincarnation up, however. Not sure they want to dive too deep for this. Global Silence has been popped. Quista chasing down the Shadow Demon. He will tick down. Shadowway gonna rotate in, but it looks like Axnar in a bit of trouble here. He will Astral Imprison and look to TP away, and he should make it just fine. Well played by him. Caught a little bit out of position. 2 for 1 going Qntk's way. 3 for 1 actually in the mid lane. No, it said there was a death on Eknart. Did he buy back? I feel like that was just a reincarnation.
It's bugged out.
Yeah, so 2 for 1.
It's a 2 for 1 for Qntk, and that was also Global Silence used, and here that Qntk lost only the Shadow Demon, which, I mean, you dive that deep to try to get a Wraith King kill, you know he has reincarnation. It was definitely a punishable situation by Scary Faces, but Qntk having the opportunity to start things off on their own terms with random initiation coming out from the side off of a smoke, and turns out that is actually pretty useful. The Demonic Purge taking out the Repel of the Omnet was just the cherry on the cake there for Qntk, as they were fed 2 kills in that entire exchange. They are going to lose Darkness of the Abyss, possibly. He's taking quite a bit of damage from the Silencer, but he will just barely make it out alive. Maybe trying to sneak in for a Sunder? Oh,
yeah, definitely would be a possible play. He's got the fade. The reincarnation is down. He does pop the Metamorphosis. One more right click will be there. And Darkness going to find a kill. IMXO rotating in as well. He'll be just fine here despite taking that last word. And they may even look to translate this into another kill or a tower push. The Illusion is going to tank the tower for now. Demonic Purge goes out. Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare. They'll get 2, and Qntk clawing their way back into this one.
Oh man, it's either that or Scary Faces are falling apart. Well, that happened. Mirana got a solo kill on the Faceless Void, and she only has Blade of Alacrity, Phase Boots, and Hand of Midas for her additional attack speed. I can only assume that was a 5-second max length arrow that connected. Either that or Faceless Void was taking a creep wave for some reason, but either way, I mean, Scary Face is just bleeding heroes right now just because they are not together. Most of these kills are just because Scary Face is off one person doing their own thing, getting picked off with a Sunder, then the Silencer getting dove, then it's top lane, Faceless Void getting get tagged with an arrow. Things are getting really bad all of a sudden for Scary Faces, and maybe their advantage just isn't enough. The Silencer is working his way towards an Aghanim Scepter, which will certainly help, but as long as you don't have that Global Silence up, there's not much you could do as Silencer except for hope that the enemies aren't going to focus you, and clearly Qntk aren't going to be taking that line, so it's actually starting to look like Scary Faces aren't in as much of a lead as we previously thought. Now a Diffusal play on Mirana, another counter to that Omni Knight. This is pretty scary.
Yeah, and it's also just a good item in general on Mirana. Definitely increases her effective DPS quite a bit. Burning the mana of the Wraith King will be invaluable here as well. And the Terrorblade's recovered incredibly. He's picked up the full Manta, 3rd overall on the net worth, above the Void by 3k at this point. Shadowway being uncontested as he was in that dual lane, or at least unkilled early on, has fallen off heavily in terms of farm. Global Silence popped top to try and keep State 21 up, but he's going to go down anyways to the last few right clicks. Wraithfire Blast is there too late from Eknart. He's got Reincarnation down for another 70 seconds, but they won't look to dive him too deep here as he does go into the tree line. Mystic Flare will be there, but a jump forward from Shadowway. 2-man Chrono, too greedy from Qntk. T-Bon may fall here. He's able to leap away though. Concussive Shot will be there. Ancient Seal onto Eknart, but they'll dust up the Moonlight Shadowed. Skywrath Mage. Terrorblade rotating in, however, with the Sanity's Eclipse at the ready as well. They will drop everything onto Shadowway. Reflection is there. He'll be brought down with the Demonic Purge. Light Striker is going to hit on 2. Abash going to try and back off. Sanity's Eclipse is there. Sunder onto Abash as well. One last right click salve will not keep you alive for the Lina. Next to fall seems to be Quista here. He's going to take a few Arcane Orbs to the face, but he'll be just fine for the time being. TP's in. It looks like everyone trying to back off. Eknart is going to fall on the back lines. Double kill going the way of the Terrorblade. Last word pops onto IMXO. He will drop. OD maybe goes down. He's bottling up. Degenora is there. Blink forward from State 21. There's the Curse of the Silent, and that should drop him down, and it does. But the Terrorblade able to TP out. Overall, looks like a 3 for 3, but the Terrorblade for Darkness of the Abyss staying up 1900 gold in his pockets, and it does end up being a 4 for 3, apparently 4 for 4 in the end of it all, with the OD going down.
A relatively even fight after all is said and done. Silencer getting back into that fight in just the nick of time, and Lena unfortunately miscounting her mana or falling short for whatever reason, was unable to launch Laguna Blade, which would have gotten the kill, but it might not be too late because he's going to run to Darkness. Laguna Blade not quite going to do it, but a Dragon Slade follow-up will. Terrorblade getting soloed by the Lena. That's not supposed to happen. I mean, I don't really know where Terrorblade was going there. Maybe just didn't expect a bash to be in the area, but either way, it's another free kill going the way of Scary Faces. Global Silence coming in huge there. The fact that they actually managed to pick off the Mirana. It was Scary Faces, or Qntk rather, diving just a little bit too deep to try to get that Wraith King to start things off, and then that Chronosphere just set the pace of the rest of it. It was certainly not the cleanest fight from Qntk, but the fact that they're fighting at all after such a horrendous early game start is really speaking volumes. They're also going to set up a trap for Eknard, who does have his reincarnation and is going to dodge a Mystic Flare, so he's not actually in any trouble right now. Disruption onto someone, don't really know who that is. It's going to be T-Bon, who already got jumped by Shadow Razor. He's going to bring down the Mirana, and now he's going to be perfectly fine as they're going to land another stun to Giedrox. Eknard will take that kill eventually with the help of his reincarnation. Slowdown, and IMXO also being chased down by the Faceless Void will get clubbed down, and the Skywrath Mage will fall at the exact same time. Okay, so Qntk, they had a nice couple of plays, but this is when Scary Faces, I guess, just consolidate themselves and realize, okay, we have to tighten up the screws. We are going to play a little bit more safely, and roaming it around as such a huge party, that's pretty much the way to do it.
Yeah, Darkness the Abyss is going to be aggressed upon here. Bottom lane, blink down towards the wave, though. State 21 only going to find an illusion. Nobody home. He's picked up his boots of travel. Tier 1 will go down mid to Quista and Eknard, it seems, here, as 3 are dead for Qntk. But they still are pretty relevant in terms of the farm. OD's almost picked up his BKB at this point and is hitting fairly hard with the 67 intelligence off from his Null Talisman Treads, as well as the Force Staff. So looking fairly good still here for Qntk. Unfortunately, that solo kill on the Lena gave her 1500 experience, which gave her the level 11, level 2 on the Laguna Blade at the ready. Now that's doing 675 magical damage. Does have a Yule Scepter of her own. Nice setup for the Light Strike Array, as well as a little bit of survivability for her. We do see some grouping up happen from Qntk in their own jungle. Perhaps we'll see a smoke here, but OD not with them. BKB in the stash, probably looking for that to be delivered before they queue the next team fight.
And that team fight might be over towards mid. Piranha gonna start going to work on this tier 1 tower. Looks like it will be brought down one way or another. Fortify will make it so that Scary Face is looking for a deny right now. LSA being set up onto the Mirana. Leap out from underneath, and she'll be just fine. But Chronosphere is there, which will land onto 3. They're going to try to go for the Shadow Demon, get rid of the disruption, but now instead changing their mind, going for T-Bon. That could be a mistake. Shadow Razor is going to take quite a bit of damage, but the Guardian Angel Repel will keep him alive right now. And OD now taking a lot of focus, has a Force Staff, but he's completely surrounded in enemy heroes. That's going to be a 3 for 0 for Scary Faces after a beautiful Chronosphere. Global Silence just now coming up as State going to blink forward, landing that slow onto Giedrox, and with another follow-up stun and a Laguna Blade just for good measure. That's 4 heroes down for Qntk, and that should be a little bit more than just a tower here for Scary Faces. They can take this tower, then slide down to the Roshan pit, but right now they have quite a bit of time to do whatever they want with Global Silence covered.
Yeah, huge swing, 5k experience, about 4k in terms of gold, in terms of net swing, 4 for 0. Going the way of Scary Faces, they'll look to solidify their advantage here and walk high ground, so they could have took Roche, as you mentioned, but they're going to look to take building damage here. No buyback available for the OD or the other two who are responding fairly quickly, so will be a tier 3 for sure, as Terrorblade is able to take the tier 2 bottom lane. And there is Boots of Travel here on Darkness of the Abyss. He's got his Metamorphosis pop with a couple illusions. They'll send back the Lena to deal with this, and he will not be able to put any damage into the tier 3 as a bash does stave off his aggression. He'll TP back. They're looking for some return kills. Quista going to be able to TP out under the cover of Repel, and the arrow's going to fly. It's going to be blink dodged by Eknard. Almost does land there. That they will pick off Quista, it seems, actually, before he goes down. Nice Sunder by Darkness of the Abyss. He'll keep up IMXO under Curse of the Silent there. And just for good measure, he'll be alive for now. They get the 1 return kill on the silencer. Certainly a nice one. 450 experience going the way of 4 heroes on Qntk there. But they do lose their tier 3, albeit they bring down the tier 2 in the bot lane with the Terrorblade.
Losing a tier 3 is so much better than what could have potentially happened. But Scarth Mage actually going to get jumped now. State jumping in with the Purify, and Scarth Mage putting 1 observer ward down or a sentry down and then trying to de-ward. That's probably going to be known to the Scary Faces side now. Either way, Scarth Mage the wrong place at the wrong time, but losing a tier 3 isn't the worst case scenario. It's not the end of the world for Qntk. They have to just slowly stall out for this Terrorblade to get a little bit bigger. It's, of course, risky just to put all your eggs in this one basket, but they're going to have to do it anyway. It's going to be a jump in onto OD. Arrow's going to fly by him a little bit more space. Disruption as well as his own imprison means that he's going to be immune for a very long time. He actually pops BKB. I don't really know if that's the correct decision, but they're going to go for a bash in the meantime. Elsa is going to hit onto the Terrorblade, but it's not really going to do that much. In the meantime, Wraith King looking forward, looking for that OD. Can't quite find him. Has another blink in 5 seconds, stuck in the corner now. Good luck using it. He's completely spotted. Arrow will fly, miss, but Eknart, he's gonna get help from Guardian Angel. It's Aghanim right now, and a nice crush sound onto everyone. Actually, Tibon is blocking everyone. He has to move right now. He's gonna kill off the OD. That's his friend, and Wraith King might actually get a blink out of here. No, they're cut through from the darkness of the abyss. He will get that kill in the end, but Tibon, man, he had to move his ass, and that was not the right play for the Mirana to be making. They're gonna chase forward for more Scary Faces, but they are not going to find anyone. It's a decent series of events for Qntk as they take out 2 heroes, or was it just 2? I think it might have been 3 overall, but more farm for Darkness of the Abyss in the end, but could have been so much better if OD was playing a little bit more cautiously and if Murano just wasn't there.
Yeah, T-Bon, there's probably a little bit of salt in team chat going on for Qntk right now, but Terrorblade has finally surpassed Quista on the Silencer. He's taken the throne in terms of the net worth chart now. Boots of Travel's up with his Manta Aquila. He's got an ultimate orb, and it looks like he's picked up the point booster as well. That's the full Scotty coming over for the Terrorblade now. He's going to get ever the more tanky and ever the more scary as a Bash looks to find something with State 21. He's going to be scouted out by T-Bon. Minus use there. There's the Yule Scepter. Light Strike away to fall. The silence is going to cover them as well. Laguna Blade, they're going to pick off T-Bon. That's a very nice pick off for them to find. He's looking to build perhaps into a Maelstrom with the Gloves of Haste there. Maybe has gone back for the BKB with the Ogre Club. But either way, very nice pick off. 800 experience going the way of the Omni as well as the Lina.
And the Terrorblade also farming pretty decently. He's got the Manta style Eye of Scotty now with Travels. He's been in the background farming for most of this, and he's swooped in for a couple of kills here and there, but now he's completely spotted out right now, and this is actually looking pretty bad for Darkness. He might be baiting them out. No, it's not. He has a Sunder. Maybe he's going to use that, and it will, actually force everyone to back off Darkness of the Abyss. Maybe looking to use Fog to his advantage, or the Manta style that he currently has. He's waiting 10 seconds for an teleportation out of there. He's actually going to cut his way through the trees. Did he just juke out everyone from Scary Faces? It looked like he did. Mission accomplished. If he leaves right now, he has a chance for a kill, but no, he's just going to make it out. Okay. So I guess that path is usually the one that's least taken. Usually it's going into the
definitely would have juked me out.
Secret shop, but they worked out.
Yeah, well played by Darkness. He really should have been caught out there, but as you mentioned, the fear of the Sunder, the Lina and the Silencer backing off. They're trying to kill him off from range. He's able to fog them in the cover of the night and get away there, and that would have been a huge pickoff after taking out the Mirana for Qntk here. So T-Bon gonna farm up mid once again. Eknart does have the blink on the Wraith King, perhaps looks to jump forward. The leap is available from T-Bon though as well, and there is a Yule Scepter here. Jump forward. Wraith Fire Blast is going to be disjointed by the leap. Well played by T-Bon. Had the defensive disruption ready as well, but not much else in the way of support. Axnar going to farm up the jungle a bit, has the 9-second BKB still, as well as 1900 gold in his pocket. We'll see if he looks to build into that Hex, which is fairly standard for an OD. Going to have some dewarding done from IMXO, and perhaps a smoke to follow after this. Eknart will be scouted out perhaps as he walks to the south here, and he is by this Observer Ward briefly. He'll place one of his own. That's right in sentry range, I think, it seems, for the Dire. Will be very close either way. Maybe just on the periphery of that. And we'll look to see Terrorblade farming in the enemy jungle. He's picked up now his Talisman of Evasion as well, building into a Butterfly. And that'll help him certainly in the Chronosphere against the Void, who hasn't really found much but an Aghanim Scepter in the way of item progression.
And that's, once again, it's Scaryface investing quite a bit into their one-off team fight with the double ultimate from the Silencer, with the global capacity of the Guardian Angel as well. If somehow Qntk are able to outlast, they're going to jump in for T-Bon. Global Silence late though, looking for a Chronosphere, going to be thrown only onto Qntk. There's disruption as well, but no, secondary Global Silence will cancel that. IMXO taking quite a bit of damage from the double ult, but double ult down, Chronosphere down, and now, right now, Scaryfaces are out of gas. Darkness of the Abyss is on the bottom lane. Guardian Angel will keep everything alive for now, and suddenly Darkness is all alone right now. Has a Sunder, but he can't get it through the stuns, and he will be taking a fall. I mean, it's kind of bold for him, but right now, this is actually the best chance for Qntk to make a play, because Scaryfaces, they have no more ultimates, or no more useful ultimates. No Global Silence, no double Global Silence either, and it's going to be a long time before those are back up. It's going to be mid lane where OD is going to try to go for Faceless Void. 1, 2, 3, needs one more Orb hit, is just going to fall short. Now with the Purify, it's not going to happen. The Moonlight Shadow does go out. OD is going to retreat. Looks like he might be fine, but Qntk in 40 seconds, that's going to be their best chance at making a play. Arrow's going to fly, hitting onto a bash as Faceless Void, jumping forward, looking for that OD. Will not find him. It's going to be IMXO to get jumped instead. He's going to put himself into a bubble, but he's going to drop shortly after as T-Bon's going to get chased down by Eknar. He's silenced T-Bon. He can't escape this Wraith King. He should be going down to the Urn Charge. That's going to be another kill for the SFZ side. Now they're going to find another onto Qntk. More intelligence for Twisted, up to plus 40 now. Are you kidding me? The OD is not even going to escape. Luna Blade going to finish him off. And Qntk, they get slowly but surely dismantled. They're going to buy back the 2 heroes just to defend the Raxes, but that's going to be hard with the 2v5 on their hands.
Yeah, 1v1 walking into a slaughter. 1 by 1, I should say, walking into a slaughter. Qntk, very poor play from them. The Shadow Demon goes in to try and save the OD, who already had his own Astral Imprisonment. Jump forward, though. Chrono is onto the OD, but they're going to try and kill off a Terrorblade Illusion beforehand. And Darkness going to be just fine for the time being. This may stave them off. Now, there's a reflection that goes out onto Quista, but still, 3v4. Arrow's going to hit from range. That's about a 3-second stun onto Quista. He'll be purified here, but he's dropping fast. Repel goes down there, but he'll get right-click down. IMXO dropping pretty low. He'll have to disrupt himself. Arrow's going to fly, not going to find much. State 21 blinking out, looking to get another blink, 7 seconds away. They're going to try and chase down Eknard here. Arrow's going to fly, not going to hit on State 21, and that'll stave off the aggression from Qntk. However, the silence is down. Chronosphere only down for 20 seconds. A silencer, I should say, is down, but he does have the buyback, so really not much they can do in the way of structural damage, but they can look for this Roshan, and they will pick up a double damage rune for the OD. Arrow is going to land on Roche. That's a long stun. This should give them the ability to take him out. Darkness, yeah, you need ranged illusions if you're going to leave them in the pit. Either way, he's not Metamorphosis. Going to save that perhaps for the impending team fight. Abash going to walk in with the Dragon Scythe, scout things out. Arrow is going to fly, not going to land. It's going to scout the Courier out briefly, but nothing on it. And Roche will go the way of the OD here. So Qntk gonna have 2 lives on their OD. Perhaps he's able to stick around without using that BKB for one of those, and does have 2k gold in tow as well. He can pick up that ultimate orb on the way to his Hex if he opts to do so, as Darkness of the Abyss pushes out the top lane with his illusions.
They have a lot riding on this Terrorblade right now. I don't even know if it's worth it giving the OD a double life, because his ultimate, he landed on Lina, it didn't really do anything. So this OD's ultimate not really going to be hitting that hard. He has BKB Force Staff. This is the true weakness of OD, is that he needs so much in the way of gold to really be an effective hero outside of the laning stage, and he just doesn't really have it right now. So OD, though he does have a double life, is maybe going to be, you know, more of a deceptive play than anything else, just to try to get the OD to be focused more than the Terrorblade. But TB, he's still pretty darn farmed, and as I said before, he is a hero that could just go nuts onto everyone, assuming no Guardian Angel interruption there. It's going to be very, very hard for him to get that done, because he has to work through that Guardian Angel. He has to work through a very spammable Chronosphere, and in that sense, Terrorblade is not going to have an easy time at all. But Qntk, they are not down the melee racks, and that's the important thing in the mid lane. It's still possible for them to come back off of some pretty out-of-control Terrorblade play, but it's going to be hard pressed. It's mostly going to be abusing the fact that Scaryfaces have 100% reliance, or 90% reliance on very, very large cooldowns. If they could work around those cooldowns, Qntk, then they'll have a chance. But if they can't, if they lose a fight right outside of their base with double Silencer ultimate, Guardian Angel, everything in the kitchen sink, then it's just all over for them.
Yeah, I think you really touched upon it there. The thing is that the Guardian Angel really stops Terrorblade from doing absolutely anything, and with both a Chronosphere and an Ags Refresher Global Silence, it's going to be very hard for them to stop them from dropping that Guardian Angel by bursting the Omni Knight down. They can cover him with 2 Silences and a Chronosphere, and that's probably why you haven't seen Qntk take too many 5-man engagements. They're really looking to spread things out, split push, and find pickoffs here and there. And as you mentioned, they are going to have to bait out those big cooldowns in order to find anything. And once those big cooldowns come out, it really does bode well for Scary Faces in attempts to do well in these engagements. So Qntk going to have to draw things out and try and bait those cooldowns out to find anything. They will group up as 3 in mid, minus IMXO as well as the Terrorblade here. Arrow's just going to scout the jungle, not going to find much, but 4 grouped up for Scary Faces in the bot lane. They're going to be joined as well by State 21 on the Omni, and they will take out this tier 1 fairly shortly. There is some dire vision here, even if the tier 1 goes down, but it looks like they're trying to trade a T2 mid, and this will be a good trade for Qntk if they're able to get it. Glyph also popped on the T1 as it will refresh. Force Qntk jump forward though, Chrono on 2, and there's an immediate global silence there. Nice BKB, and the Astral Imprisonment goes out onto the Mirana, but Giedrox will be there to fall. T-Bon gonna leap towards the trees, won't get the Moonlight Shadow off in time to save his life, and they'll find 2 for free and save their tier 2 in the mid lane, and this probably will spell the high ground push for Scary Faces. They at least want to force buybacks here, which are not available for both the Mirana and the Skywrath, and they will also push out the top lane that was being split pushed currently by Darkness of the Abyss.
And I don't really know why they're trying to make for these plays Qntk without their Terrorblade. He represents most of their damage, especially when you're talking about destroying towers. I don't know how much the Terrorblade could have helped in that sort of situation, but I don't really think pushing with 4 very weak heroes and then having your strongest hero off doing his own thing is really what you want to be doing in this game. So Darkness of the Abyss, he's now charged with a pretty hard defense without the Mirana to back him up right now. He's still getting very high amounts of farm, and there's no double global silence for another 130 seconds, so it's a slight opening for Qntk, or maybe it's just going to be breathing space where they get a little bit more farm up. Either way, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to actually make anything happen, just because it's so hard to counterplay up against double global. You could BKB once, and that was the play for the OD. Got the Imprison out on the Mirana just to buy her a little bit more space, but then he was silenced and no more orbs there. He still has the Aegis. He hasn't been focused at all. It's not looking too good for Qntk, and I don't really see it getting any better outside of a massive Terrorblade team fight. But if he's not in the team fight, then your team fight isn't going to happen.
Yeah, definitely so. The global silence so good, and even when it is on cooldown, they have that 60-second cooldown from the Aghanim Scepter Chronosphere, so certainly not are without all their big teamfight ultimates. They also have the Guardian Angel up with the Aghanim's upgrade, and State 21 has picked up a Scythe of Vice, so they're able to hex up and kill off this Terrorblade, and they will win these engagements. Moonlight Shadow popped on top of Smoke here. They're going to look to engage very closely. Perhaps they find the Omni Knight here. This will be a big kill. They Ancient Seal him up. Silence is not there. They'll bring down the Omni, but a 5-man Chrono comes out on top of the global silence. Shadow 8 looking to bring down T-Bon. He won't be able to quite do it, but Axnar going to fall at the same time as the Terrorblade. Mystic Flare not going to do much here at all, and they'll get the 2 targets they want. So even with a great engagement from Qntk, they group up and converge on the Omni Knight for a 5-man Chrono. Easy game, easy life for Scary Faces. 3 buybacks available in the Shadow Demon, Terrorblade, and the OD, but not sure that it'll be enough for them to mount a defense.
So it's very rare in this game that you want to clump up, ever. It's not supposed to be the play, clumping up against the Faceless Void, because that kind of just fell into his lap. Maybe Qntk thought they would be a little bit faster in how they killed off the Omni Knight. They could kill him and then disperse fast enough to dodge the Chronosphere, but that certainly did not happen. A 5-man Chronosphere with sufficient follow-up with Global Silence just for the damage, because they don't really need it for the silence afterwards. Lena dumped her entire payload into there. They kill off the Terrorblade without having to worry about him casting Sunder or Manta Style or anything like that. And they're probably going to take 2 sets of Raxes, or maybe a tier 3 tower at the very least, up towards the top lane. Twista's going to jump forward. Huge hits with those glaives. They have the plus 50 intelligence now. Insane amount of DPS coming out for the Silencer with no DPS items. I'm actually going to finish off the Scarith Mage. Now going to go for the Shadow Demon. A couple more right clicks, not quite going to do it. Arrow will be dodged. In the meantime, Range Rax is going to go down up towards the top lane. SFZ, unfortunately, they don't have the Faceless Void in the area, so they can't effectively kill off those buildings, but they get 1.5 sets of Rexes down, and Qntk make a huge blunder in their positioning, and it costs them big. That might just be the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, eyes widened a little too much, thinking about how sneaky they were and how juicy that Omni Knight looked, and they group up for a perfect chrono from Shadowway, and they overlap it as well with the Global Silence, with that Curse of the Silent maxed out, doing damage from the Aghanims, and everyone dropping simultaneously, at least the OD and the Terrorblade going down simultaneously, and that's really all that SFZ is worried about here. So things looking poorer and poorer now for Qntk. We take a look at the metrics. Scary Face has now developed a 20,000 experience lead. Taking a look at the net worth, 12k in their favor as well. So all the advantage that was accrued by that Terrorblade at some point is pretty much now mitigated, and he's only picked up an Ogre Club in addition to his Butterfly Scotty Manta. He will finish off the BKB here, so will be a little bit more survivable, but that will allow them to know which Terrorblade is the real one, and they still have quite a bit of physical damage to deal through the Silencer, the Void, and the Wraith King.
And this is going to be maybe Qntk's last fight in this game, as they, or Scary Faces rather, they have everything that they could possibly want right now. They have the double silence, they have the Guardian Angel ready and waiting, they'll always have the Chronosphere up. And Qntk, they have to make some sort of action happen on this top lane. Split push is going to not delay Scary Faces by nearly enough. Their melee racks might just be forfeit, actually. Yeah, Qntk, they're not in any position to fight this. Eknart going to take an arrow to the face, but he does not care. That's a clean Raxing on the top lane. Now, are they really just going to go for GG? No, they're going to blink forward for T-Bon. He's going to get disrupted. Global Silence #1 does come out as they throw a stun the way of IMXO, but a nice two-man Chronosphere is going to lock down both T-Bon and the OD is going to get annihilated by a bash. Guardian Angel flies out because of no reason. They're going to instead go for Terrorblade. Has the Sunder, has the Butterfly Evasion. OD is going to buy back. His ultimate does no damage to anyone right now because he doesn't have the intelligence to back it up. Darkness Abyss gets his Sunder out, but he's still being focused down. He's just not powerful enough to take down all these heroes through the bashing and do everything like that. Elsa is going to lock him down for a little while longer. He's going to get in prison, but Silencer's still in the offense, doing so much damage with these Glaives. They'll kill off pretty much everyone. That will be actually everyone. Puts it out to 64 intelligence, 51 to 19, and Qntk are out of this game. It's going to be a 1-1 tied series.
Yeah, Silencer with no damage items hitting for 250 a tick, plus Glaives of Wisdom damage, and looking really scary there, as you mentioned. Over 60 intelligence stolen, and it all started at that top lane for Scary Faces, absolutely annihilating the dual lane of the Terrorblade Skywrath Mage. And that's game 2 going the way of SFZ. We'll go to a deciding game 3, guys. SLTV Pro Series Season 11 loser goes home.